People often assume that fame, fortune, and global applause make someone immune to the struggles that haunt ordinary lives. They think the lights protect you. They think the cameras shield you. They think the luxury fills the emptiness. But even the brightest lights cast the darkest shadows. I've lived on the tallest stages, in front of oceans of screaming fans, wearing makeup, costumes, and charm like a second skin. For a long time, I convinced myself that meant something. I thought I had it all: the career, the respect, the love, the mystery. But the truth is far simpler and far more painful. Life quietly strips away what you cherish, one piece at a time. Friends, lovers, reputation, peace, even yourself. There was a moment, looking in the mirror, when I didn't recognize the man staring back. Losing everything isn't loud. It isn't chaotic. It isn't explosive. It's the silence after someone hangs up on you. The echo of a room once filled with laughter. The realization that the people you trusted weren't really there. That realization cuts deeper than any headline ever could. The pain is quiet, creeping, and intimate. It leaves scars in places no one sees. It challenges your perception of safety, love, and even yourself. There's a truth I need you to hear. A truth I've carried for years. A truth about falling from the place you once believed was safe. A truth about betrayal, fame, survival, love, coming undone, and finding your way back. Before I tell that truth, I need to take you to the night it all began. The night everything started to unravel. Long before anyone knew. Before the world turned its head. Before whispers became headlines. That night was unforgettable. That night, the truth first cracked through the facade I had spent a lifetime building. That night changed everything, marking both an end and a beginning I never expected. Life began with ambition and wonder. Dreams felt tangible, opportunities endless, and the path ahead illuminated by promise. Every day seemed to hold the possibility of greatness, yet beneath the excitement, there was a quiet fragility that few could see. Early successes were exhilarating, but they brought isolation. People admired the persona, the image projected to the world, rather than the person underneath, the real thoughts, fears, and desires that made me who I am. Friendships were fragile, shaped by circumstance rather than genuine understanding. Relationships could shift overnight, and the people closest to me were not always who I thought they were. The foundation of my life was fragile, built on admiration and illusion. The first cracks appeared subtly. Ignored warnings, overlooked red flags, and moments of subtle disappointment. I learned early that not everyone who calls themselves a friend has your best interests at heart. Loyalty can be conditional, and love can sometimes disguise selfish motives. Even at the height of promise, I began to understand that life could be unpredictable, that fame and success offered no guarantees, and that vulnerability would always carry risk. These early experiences set the stage for what was to come. They taught lessons I wasn't yet ready to understand fully. The fragility of trust, the peril of blind hope, and the reality that appearances can be deceiving. Life was preparing me, slowly, for the challenges that would test every belief, every relationship, and every measure of strength I thought I possessed. Looking back now, those moments of uncertainty, subtle betrayal, and early heartbreak were the first indicators that the life I believed I had built so securely could unravel in ways I had never imagined. Success is insidious. It creeps into your life quietly, consuming your nights, your peace, and your sense of reality, until nothing feels familiar anymore. Small, overlooked events begin to pile up. Broken promises, fading friendships, ignored calls, and the slow drift of those once close to you. Trust becomes fragile. You start to question intentions. The people around you aren't always who they seem to be, and the safety you believed in starts to feel like an illusion. Red flags appear, subtle at first, but growing in frequency and intensity. Manipulations, half-truths, and small betrayals begin to form patterns you try to convince yourself are normal. Hope and loneliness cloud judgment. You want to believe in people, in love, in loyalty. And because of that desire, you excuse things you shouldn't, ignore signs you should notice, and walk toward danger while blindfolded by trust. The tension builds quietly, almost politely, but it's relentless. Each misstep, each deception, tightens the grip on your life, shaping an unseen trap that you don't fully recognize until it's too late. Betrayal is quiet. It does not storm in with fanfare. It arrives politely, often disguised as concern, affection, or advice. You may not notice it at first, because it feels like care, but the truth is far more sinister. Small inconsistencies, subtle manipulations, and shifts in tone begin to accumulate, shaping reality in ways you fail to recognize at first. The person you trusted starts influencing your perception, your decisions, and your own sense of self. These early betrayals are almost invisible, hidden in the cracks of ordinary interactions. But each one weakens your foundation, creating uncertainty where there was once confidence and safety. Isolation starts slowly. Friends and family are subtly questioned. Doubt is planted where trust once grew. You begin to depend on the wrong person for affirmation, guidance, and even basic emotional stability. As the influence grows, your instincts are clouded. Decisions feel uncertain. Your confidence wavers, and what was once clear becomes muddled. This is the insidious nature of betrayal. It isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It slowly, methodically reshapes your world while you remain unaware. You see moments that should concern you, subtle lies, inconsistencies, excuses, but you dismiss them, hoping it's all a misunderstanding, hoping the love or loyalty you desire will overcome the warning signs. You allow yourself to believe in hope rather than reality, even as the pieces of your world begin to shift beneath your feet. And in that quiet tension, the stage is set. Betrayal is no longer a distant threat. It is here, and the impact is only a matter of time. Arguments become routine, no longer rare or exceptional. Every conversation feels like walking into a battlefield, where words can wound as deeply as any weapon. Silence is used as a weapon. Guilt is manipulated, and every mistake, real or imagined, is magnified. You are forced to apologize for things you did not do, defend yourself against attacks that feel invisible, and navigate an emotional minefield with exhaustion as your constant companion. Slowly, confidence erodes. Doubt becomes your closest companion, and the foundation you once trusted starts to crumble under the weight of manipulation. The emotional quicksand forms gradually. The more you struggle to stand, the deeper you sink. Each interaction seems to pull you further away from certainty, stability, and peace. Isolation increases. The people you once relied on for guidance feel distant, as though manipulated by forces you cannot see. Your sense of reality begins to blur. Chaos reigns quietly. It isn't dramatic or explosive in a headline sense, but inside, it consumes you. Every decision feels dangerous. Every word might be misconstrued. Every moment feels like survival. Trust is now a fragile, brittle thing. You question your instincts at every turn and second-guess even the simplest choices. The emotional control is relentless. Manipulations, guilt, and subtle power plays keep you off balance, creating fear and confusion where there should be certainty and calm. At this stage, the realization begins to form. Life as you knew it is no longer yours. The chaos is not external alone. It has taken root inside you, challenging everything you thought you understood about yourself and others. A quiet night brings clarity, like a sharp, sudden light. Alone, staring at your reflection, you see the man you've become and recognize the cracks that have been forming for years. It's not just the chaos of external circumstances that weighs on you. It's the internal fracture. The decisions, the misplaced trust, the moments of denial, they all come into focus at once. This is the moment when survival stops being about endurance and begins being about understanding. You realize that change must start from within, and that no one else can reclaim your life for you. In the silence, tiny sparks appear, small choices that hint at the possibility of regaining control. A walk outside, a phone call to someone you trust, a journal entry capturing your thoughts. These small acts begin to rebuild clarity and strength. Each action is a gentle reminder that you are not entirely lost. Even in the darkest nights, fragments of self-awareness and hope remain, waiting to be nurtured. The realization grows: no betrayal, no loss. No chaos can strip away the essence that remains inside. That core, the unchangeable self, is still yours, and it becomes the anchor amid the storm. Recognizing your unshakable core is liberating. It provides perspective, allowing you to see that external events, no matter how devastating, do not define your worth or identity. Pain transforms into a teacher, fear becomes a guide, and clarity begins to emerge from the wreckage. Every tear, every sleepless night, every doubt is an invitation to reclaim your own story. In that night of realization, the first step toward rebuilding begins. You understand that survival and redemption are possible, not through external validation, but through the unwavering truth of who you are at the very core. Months of subtle manipulation culminate in undeniable recognition. Betrayal has been closer than ever before, hiding behind smiles, concern, and false loyalty. The pattern becomes clear. The person you trusted, leaned on, and confided in has been influencing your decisions for their own gain, shaping your reality while keeping you off balance. The truth hits quietly but sharply. This was not a series of small mistakes. It was a calculated web of control, designed to ensnare you emotionally and mentally. Betrayal is no longer abstract. It is personal. It extends beyond the private, infiltrating public spaces, relationships, and even your sense of self. Fear and anger collide. Confusion and heartbreak mix with clarity and resolve. The realization is painful. You were being used, manipulated, and isolated all along. And yet, in recognizing this, a strange sense of empowerment begins to form. Knowledge is power, and understanding the full extent of betrayal is the first step in reclaiming control. The moment of unveiling transforms despair into purpose. You understand that while betrayal may have taken trust, it cannot take your core essence or your ability to choose your next steps. Small, deliberate decisions begin to reclaim autonomy, setting boundaries, refusing manipulation, and beginning the process of untangling your life from the web of control. The revelation of betrayal marks a turning point. You are no longer a passive participant in the story being written around you. The narrative shifts, and the first steps toward freedom and clarity are taken. After betrayal, life feels unmoored. Fear, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion dominate, making every day a struggle for balance. Even supportive friends seem distant, their voices muffled by the fog of confusion and manipulation. You are left alone with your thoughts, confronting the void that surrounds you. In that isolation, darkness creeps in, not explosive, but persistent, quiet, and consuming. Every decision becomes heavier, every moment longer. Solitude forces reflection. In the silence, the consequences of past choices come into focus. The trust misplaced, the boundaries ignored, the moments when hope blinded you. Fear and regret intertwine. Self-doubt grows, yet amid the despair, a faint spark of understanding begins to emerge. Slowly, small acts, walking alone, writing your thoughts, speaking with a trusted confidant, begin to rebuild clarity, revealing the possibility of regaining control over your life. The darkest moments reveal the most essential truth, the unchangeable core within yourself. No matter the chaos outside, the essence inside remains untouchable. Recognizing that core becomes both refuge and compass. It is the anchor that holds you steady while the storm rages around you. In these moments of deep darkness, the first seeds of awakening are planted. The journey back to self, to clarity, and to hope begins quietly, internally, but with profound significance. There comes a moment when the weight of everything broken becomes too heavy to carry alone. In the quiet, staring at your reflection, you see the person you've become and the changes life has forced upon you. The chaos outside mirrors the turmoil within. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every loss is visible now, and the stark reality becomes unavoidable. If transformation is to happen, it must start from within. The first realization strikes. External circumstances, no matter how devastating, cannot touch the essence of who you are. Your core, your truth, your spirit remains untouchable, and that knowledge becomes a spark of liberation. Liberation begins with small, deliberate acts. Setting boundaries, embracing solitude, and refusing manipulation become revolutionary choices that restore clarity and strength. Every action, no matter how small, signals a return of control. A walk, a journal entry, a quiet reflection. These become the building blocks of a regained sense of self. Each moment of self-assertion chips away at fear, doubt, and confusion. You begin to see that survival and growth are possible. Not through others' approval, but through the unwavering truth of your own being. Pain transforms into teacher. Fear becomes guide, and clarity begins to emerge from the wreckage. Every sleepless night and tear becomes part of the process of reclaiming your life. Understanding the unshakable core within yourself is liberating. It allows you to step away from chaos, recognize manipulation, and reclaim autonomy over your narrative. The ultimate awakening is realizing that freedom comes not from external validation, but from acknowledging and protecting the one thing no one can change, yourself. The journey towards strength, hope, and clarity begins here. Losing everything doesn't mean the end. It is the beginning of clarity, self-discovery, and a life stripped of illusions. Betrayal, heartbreak, and disappointment teach lessons you cannot learn any other way. They expose what is real, what is fragile, and what truly matters. True freedom comes from reclaiming your power. You learn to set boundaries, embrace solitude, and protect the essence within yourself, because that is the one thing no one can ever take. Looking back, the storms, the chaos, and the betrayals become teachers rather than punishments. You understand that external forces, people, circumstances, or fame cannot define your worth. The essence inside, untouchable and unwavering, becomes the anchor that guides every decision. Every choice you make from this point forward is informed by self-awareness, courage, and clarity. The realization brings a sense of empowerment. Losing everything taught you that the world may fail you, but your core remains intact. And in that core lies the strength to rebuild, to survive, and to thrive. The greatest lesson is simple yet profound. The world can betray, chaos can surround, and loss can strike. But one thing remains unchangeable: yourself. Your essence, your spirit, your truth. These cannot be taken, manipulated, or erased. Protect them, nurture them, and build everything else upon this unshakable foundation. Losing everything may feel like the end, but finding yourself amidst the storm is the ultimate victory. Freedom, clarity, and authentic life come not from what the world gives or takes, but from the unwavering truth within.